Triangle of Sadness is one of the most hyped films here in the Philippines, with Dolly De Leon racking up award after award. But is it even any good? What is it about? Let's talk about it. Let's get ready to rumble. This video is sponsored by the Ryan Rambles channel members. If you want to consider supporting the channel, click that join button. Triangle of Sadness is a Palme d'Or, I hope I'm saying that right, winning film written and directed by Swedish filmmaker Ruben Östlund. This was honestly my first time watching a movie by Ruben, but I know that he's received a lot of awards. I think this is his second Palme d'Or, and I know he's known for satire, for political commentary, and that his movie The Square made fun of snobby high art culture. And Triangle of Sadness was no different. It has plenty of jabs at rich and privileged people. It's honestly a pretty long movie. It's about 2.5 hours long, but I think that the runtime is well deserved. It feels like, it is a movie in 3 parts, but it feels like each part can exist by itself. The film really revolves around the idea of equality, or I guess inequality. Or I guess inequality posing as equality, if that makes sense. But if it doesn't, let's briefly go over each part of the movie. It's a film in 3 parts. Before the boat, during the boat, and after the boat. And the film starts off by showing us the inequality in the modeling industry, where male models only get 1/3 of what female models get. And it makes sense, right? Female models bring bigger numbers, bring bigger projects, so they should be paid more. Similar to how WNBA salaries are a lot less than NBA salaries. And we see this friction in the form of our 2 main characters, a male model named Carl and a female model named Yaya. In a dinner scene where Yaya makes more than Carl, but because he's the man, he is expected to pay. And I'll give it to the writer. It's very hard to write a male character who feels like he's oppressed. Usually when you do this, it's kinda cringy, or the character has Andrew Tate energy. But not Carl. You feel the frustration. In his relationship, he just wants things to be equal. And then part 2 takes place in a yacht filled with the super rich. We have arms dealers, we have Russian billionaires, and then we have Carl and Yaya who are there for free because they're attractive and have lots of social media followers, and in this day and age, social media is digital currency. And we see on the boat 3 levels. On top, we have the guests who are treated like royalty. Their wish is the command of the people here. Second level are the servers, the people that actually interact with the guests. These are people who are very motivated by money to give them whatever they want. And then third level, lowest of the low, we have the crew. The engine people, the repairmen, the cleaning lady. I think the film in general had really interesting cinematography, but I liked it especially on the boat because we'd have these really long shots, almost like a Alfonso Cuarón Harry Potter movie. I forget which Harry Potter movie he did, but the one with the long shots, that one. I love shots like that show us exactly how much effort it takes to make the experience a luxury experience, and how much the crew actually has to do to keep the boat afloat. A lot of rhyming, I didn't expect to do that. And in this part, just like the first part, we're faced with the theme of equality again. This rich Russian billionaire says that we're all equal, and she even tells one of the crew members that, hey, we're all equal, and to prove we're all equal, get everyone to swim, the crew, the staff, I don't care, we're all equal, let's swim. But obviously, that was just a rich person's delusion, and we'll see just how unequal everyone really is during the captain's ball. Basically a dinner where the rich people eat rich people food while meeting the captain, played by Woody Harrelson. And he's a captain who just has to nod and agree to what the guests are saying. Guests who are trying to mansplain what a boat is to the captain of a boat. And then a storm hits, and it's a 20-minute puke fest. Call me weird if you want, but this was honestly my favorite scene of the movie. We see a lot of rich people covered in shit and vomit. There's actually 3 layers to their outfit. It's their first layer, the suit or the dress they have on, and then 1 layer of their own puke, and then 1 layer of crap. It honestly felt like a horror movie almost. You see this toilet just spewing out poop, and it reminds me of something that's alive, like the house from Monster House, but instead of house eating people, it's a toilet spitting out poop. And while this is happening, we have Woody Harrelson, the captain, facing off against this Russian billionaire, and they're arguing about ideologies. It's an American socialist versus a Russian capitalist. Weird, right? But very, very interesting. And they debate about which ideology is more equal. Is it a society where the bounty is shared by everyone? Or is it a society where people are free to accumulate all the wealth that they want? And as this debate is going on, we see a really interesting visual. We see a bunch of luxury items filled with crap on a multi-million-dollar boat while people are debating what equality really is. And then we see inequality yet again. Because guess who has to clean the poop and all the vomit? Obviously not Woody, because white men can't mop, right? And then we get to part 3, where there's actually some sort of equality. So something happens to the ship, and they get shipwrecked on an island. And whatever rations they have, they divide equally. Like 3 crackers and 1 water bottle each, right? But that's honestly where the equality ends. Because after that, they try to enforce again the system that they had on the boat. One of the flight attendants, or boat attendants, one of the attendants tries to take the lead. And she's like, oh, the guests need to go first, and then it's me, and then it's you, cleaning lady, you are at the bottom. But Abigail, played of course by Dolly De Leon, is the only one who knows how to catch food, how to cook food, and how to make fire. So when the lady tells her that, hey, you're just a cleaning lady, she's like, nope, I am the captain now. And for this last third of the movie, it is Dolly's film. And I'll be honest, I only watched this film for Dolly De Leon. I heard she was awesome in it, and I wanted to check it out. And guys, she did not disappoint. She's the first Filipino actress really getting global recognition, and she honestly deserves every single bit of it. We have to of course give credit to the casting director and to the director himself for picking Dolly. We know here on the channel, we've talked about her before, how amazing of an actress she is. Check out my reviews of On the Job 2 and Folklore if you haven't already, by the way. But Dolly is so good at playing characters who are bigger than their bodies. And what do I mean by bigger than their bodies, alright? So this is the reason why Filipino moms are so terrifying. They may be 5'2", but they feel like they're 7'8", because they can stare at you with the eyes of death and you will feel it down to your very soul. Dolly has that in spades. And the character of Abigail really needs this quality, because she's really not present in part 1, she's barely present in part 2, but she carries part 3 on her back. It's her movie. And part 3 is honestly the best part of the movie. To the point where Woody Harrelson, who is the biggest star in the film, doesn't even appear in part 3. And it's fine, the audience doesn't really care because Dolly is that good. For most of the film, you think that it's Carl and Yaya's story. And I guess it is to some degree, but by the time you get to the last third of the movie, it is Abigail's film. It's like she actually steals the main character energy from Carl and Yaya, and at the same time, she flips the system and puts herself on top. I could honestly just go on and on about how awesome the Abigail character is and how awesome Dolly's performance was, but you should check it out for yourself. And please, watch this film in theaters. If you're here in the Philippines, every single person in that theater is rooting for Dolly. So it's a really cool experience just hearing people cheer for a character. And also, watch to support the movie and show filmmakers that it is profitable to have a Filipino leading character. And even if you're not Filipino, I promise you, no bias. Okay, that's a lie. Heavy bias. Even if I try to separate the Filipino-ness from Abigail, from Dolly, she's still an awesome character. I mean, she has the nominations to back me up, right? So obviously, I loved this movie. It's called Triangle of Sadness, but I think the French title makes more sense. Sans filtre, or no filter. The movie really shows things as they are. What really goes into a luxury experience. You see the manual labor of these alienated workers and the people profiting from them, the corporations, the rich, privileged people, and you see the battle of ideologies. Socialism versus capitalism, the patriarchy versus the matriarchy. And then the film asks the question, what about equality? Where does equality fit into these ideologies? I also really like the ending of this movie. I love that it was open-ended. I like when movies do that. They leave it up to the audience to interpret what the character is gonna do or what their movie is trying to say. So the movie starts in part 1 with Carl, and at the end of part 3, it's also Carl. And I like the fact that you had no idea what his real intentions were. I mean, you know that the experience changed him, but you don't exactly know how. Like, where are his priorities now? And what are his thoughts now on equality? So yeah, thank you so much, Ruben, for writing a Filipino into a really good movie. Not just a maid or a nurse who's a background character, but a middle-aged Filipino immigrant woman. Thanks to you, we have a Filipino in the spotlight. It just kind of sucks that it takes someone from outside the Philippines to appreciate Filipino talent, but I guess it is what it is. And hopefully from this movie, more Filipino stories could be told and less things you would see in a teleserye. If you like this movie and you want to see more Filipinos kill it on the big screen, check out Nocibo. I'll probably do a review on that sometime maybe next week. Watch the movie and then watch my review right after. But as always, huge shout out to my Mother Lily channel members, Ashley Martolino and Ma'am Kay Ace Domingo. Thank you so much for your continued support. And until next time, peace and I love y'all.
Hoy mga Pinoy, ito na ang medisina, nagbabagong apoy, linagyan ng gasolina, kaya't tinatanong pa ba kung kanino at sino ang tiyak na puntahan sa kulturang Pilipino? Ako na ang sagot, ang dakilang gamot.